good evening, and welcome to
The
The
truth
truth
Behind
behind the
behind
the
truth.
the
Truth.
truth.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Y'all have to forgive me because I have a little.
Sounding almost like Louis
I
Armstrong
know,
without
right?
singing, right? Oh
So
my God.
my conversation will be in and out. That's y'all better say nothing that I don't agree with.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Anyway, do want to welcome you guys in tonight. Thank you so much for taking your usual time out to share with us this evening. Of course, we're going to dig in every area of life to help you as we're staying in this mode of resurrecting
Yes.
your
Yes.
relationships, resurrecting your ideas, resurrecting family relationships, resurrecting your political understandings.
Let's just say
Okay,
we're resurrecting life at this point and
exactly.
making sure that everybody's living authentic, well,
Authentic. Yes,
authentic,
authentic.
but with authenticity, because that is
Yes,
what the show is based on.
absolutely.
So we're going to get into a conversation based on everything that's happening right now. But y'all, please, whenever you get the chance,
Uh,
not only join, subscribe, and to tell a friend about our show, but to also get this free mug that seems not to fade when we
I'm
wash
sorry.
it. That
When
so
we
that
watch that, I
tells
know, right?
well, to be honest with you, it tells you that we have great,
Mhm.
merchandise. So
Exactly.
at the end of the day, please, y'all, get these mugs. They're worth getting. But I just want to, say that I'm happy to be here. How y'all both doing, Darnell, Sandy? How y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. This week has been a good week. All in all, it's the rain settled in on a Saturday, so you can rest a little bit after the week. So I can't complain at all. What about you guys? What about you, Sandy?
Very busy week, and obviously lots of news. Looking forward to getting to it.
All
So
right.
let's get into it. So
Yeah,
let's really get the what they call it. Let's take the cat out of the bag type of situation. Let's talk about this.
Well, we forgot about Charles.
Oh, well,
How we
Charles.
gonna forget
Oh
about
my
Charles?
God, the producer. Oh my goodness, how was Charles? Sorry about
Ain't
that.
nobody come to see me, Otis.
I know, right? I know that's the
We
truth.
cannot forget
Atlanta's best
best
kept
kept secret.
secret.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can't.
yes,
Not at all.
yes. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now we all know that OJ has passed. OJ
Number one.
Lorenthal
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
and we just want to ask each and everyone in the panel, how do you feel about his passing?
Well, before we go into that,
No, let's
if
get
you,
into it.
no. I'm just,
Because I'm
so
ready.
you guys, if you have any comments about this, like, you can put them in the comments. Or if you want to get extensive, send us
Well,
an
that's a
email.
natural given.
Send us an email, ttbttshow@gmail, and we probably won't be able to review them today, but maybe we'll bring it up as part of the topic next week. Okay, and we want to hear from you. Okay, tonight we want to hear from you, but you can put it in the comments about the passing of OJ. All right, it should be very lively. All right, y'all go ahead.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. How do you feel about this, Charles? We'll start with you.
Oh wow, you can put me on the spot. Well, of course, you know I'm full of controversy. I don't believe OJ did it. I don't care what anybody else says. I think he was involved. I think he was connected. But I don't think he did it personally. But people. One thing I've learned through the criminal justice system is if you're black, you're guilty. You're possible. You can take on 6 men without a gun. That's why they have to shoot you 90 times in order to make sure you're dead. So I have a very, I say, a deep respect for law enforcement, but I've been a victim of it myself a lot of times, not a few, but a lot. So I don't have a real high opinion of the way the justice systems work. I've been stopped for having my ball cap on in Chicago. Asked me where the guns and drugs at because I'm wearing a ball cap. I've been pulled over in Virginia for just riding down the street at night. Ask me where I'm going. Get out my car, sit on the curb. It's a never-ending battle, and I think a lot of folks don't understand that. They want to know why people of color have such a negative opinion. It's because it's a very popular situation. Any street you name, I bet anybody you find of color has been stopped at least twice, not once, but twice, by the police for something they didn't even do or wasn't even involved in. You fit the description no matter where you go and what you do. So, just because you're a person of color, you have to have some superpowers. You can take on 5, 6 cops with guns. They just shot a guy, I forget the state it was, but he was standing up, they tased him and he wouldn't fall. So he took the taser down and said, ah, and he stepped off the porch and they just unloaded on him. What was he gonna do? Was the Hulk? He's gonna take on everybody? But they said because the cops felt endangered, that's why they had to unload 90 shots. Some rookie had put in 50 of them out of 90. So
Wow.
I'm really lost on how the system works. But like I said with OJ, I think he's involved. I don't think he did it, but people had to. I've never found a person be found innocent and then found guilty of the murder after the fact for civil court. How's that work?
Right.
You've been told
Right.
you're innocent, so now you got to pay civil penalties because somebody says you got to have done something. So, but like I said, it was a tragedy between them two people being murdered. But I think what they did, they needed a scapegoat, and they jumped right on him because he was involved. He was connected somehow, but they needed someone to put in there.
Oh, that's
That's a very healthy observation, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let me say, man, before my voice fades out. I think collectively we all were here. Around during that time frame and when it all occurred. The evidence, kind of pointed in that direction, but like we were discussing last night, by virtue of the fact that it resulted when he put the gloves on. There's just no other question behind it. I don't care how you felt personally. The man was acquitted of those charges. Now, of course, it went on, and when he got convicted of his issues in Vegas, they said it was getting karma for what happened here in LA. That's a different situation. Altogether it's a different situation. Collectively, in my opinion, for a public figure that he was, and he was a lot of people's hero. He was a lot of us hero, at that time frame. We didn't know him personally. People from different perspectives made a lot of assumptions about his life.
Mm-hmm.
Did he make some good decisions? Yeah, some. Did he make poor decisions? Yeah.
He made a lot of poor decisions.
Yeah, a lot of them, when you go from having nothing to having something, and then having it in an abundance. It's just like the young guy right now, the young guy that was racing his buddy down the freeway in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 players. And why would you be he's 23, I get it. However, that's still no excuse. You are a multi-million dollar contract, okay, football player, okay, and you're going to put yourself in jeopardy by racing somebody down the freeway and putting other people in harm's way. So can we blame if he gets terminated from the league? Is it the league's fault? But I promise you, portions of certain communities will play the race card, okay, and not look at the behavior. Okay, we've got to start looking at the behavior of people. So that furthers into the discussion a little bit more about OJ. So you can take it from there.
Darnell, what did you have to add?
So it's kind of like you opened a window in two different windows right there. As far as that, I hate to see anyone go through anything. The family going through the factor of the loss, the factor of their family now losing him at 76 is a young age. Was it 76 or 78? Which he was 76 years old?
I think
76.
Yeah, I think 76. We'll find out. But
So
I think 76.
it's a young age to be transitioning or whatever, but we never know when the time comes. I think my only issue that I had was Caitlyn in her good riddance tweet.
Oh geez.
She opened the door for her. It's like you said that and opened the door for yourself, because just not some years ago you caused the whole accident that killed someone, mother, grandmother, daughter, that was swept up under the rug.
Right. So Caitlyn, I think, is taking this as a 15 minutes of fame, because when she's become more irrelevant now in situations, because the prominent source of that portion of LGBTQ or transgender is
it's the simple fact that they were all friends at one point. They were all connected through his friendship with his marriage through Kris Jenner, who was Kris Kardashian, who was married to Robert Kardashian. It's just. It wasn't. He knew. He knows the situation. It just wasn't. He just made a shot because.
She.
Well, she. To be honest with you, it is what it is.
Right.
He knew. He knew about it. But I'm not going to take over. Sandy, go ahead and add on to that. I'm sorry.
Well, the opinions about all this can vary, but there are some facts. And there was a murder. A woman lost her life who was also a mother of two children.
Right.
And the children lost their mother. And it went to court the way the system is. And our system, what we realize is our system is probably flawed in many ways. So in this case, the case got twisted into something it wasn't really, may not have really been about, but in the end, he was acquitted. So that's our justice system. And he was a black man in America that got acquitted, and that's what we have to go with. Now, what disturbs me more than anything is the case in Las Vegas, because here's a guy who had his stuff stolen, and he went to go get his own stuff.
Right.
And he got locked up for going to get his own stuff because he took a weapon. And I know, really, we can't go get our own stuff if we suspect someone has taken it or if we know they've taken it.
Right.
That doesn't seem fair to me, but that judge used that opportunity to punish
To throw the book at him. Right.
Not for what he did, but for what he may have done in another situation.
Yes.
So OJ lived a very challenged life. He went to prison for that. Some people think it was fair. Some people think it wasn't. But then he had a challenged life, and I didn't know he had cancer. I don't know if a lot of us know.
Yeah, I don't think nobody
Nobody
knew.
knew.
Did you know,
One
Charles?
day we get up and go, OJ's dead. And, as the comedian in me, I'm looking for the joke. And then I actually heard somebody else do it. And I said, they talked to cancer, and cancer said, I didn't do it.
A mess.
I can't.
But you know what? I want to say this. OJ lived a great life up until that point of him dealing with the situation with his marital affairs and situations with his family. I always said, OJ used to say, I'm not black, I'm just OJ. That was the life OJ wanted, and that was the way OJ, that was how he lived his life. And he was celebrated. They gave this man within LA all the assets that he wanted, but he took advantage of a great opportunity because he got too big-headed. And the one thing I noticed about him after the trial is the fact that he kept dredging up the memory of the death of his wife by saying narcissistic stupidity, saying stuff that didn't make sense. Like, why would you write a book saying hypothetically if I did it? It made no sense to why he was still trying to make money off the fact that I could have killed my wife, which gave people some form of, saying, he
speculation.
Yeah, he did it. He did it.
Well,
and the saddest thing about that was there was a situation where he was stalking his wife. There is conversations over phones where he called, that 911 was called. But like Charles said, we don't know because we wasn't there. But I always go back to the fact that he threw away so much great history in what he had did for himself and what he did for the NFL over the fact that he had no control over his narcissistic behavior. And I see that in Trump. And what I see now is the fact that just like OJ, they are now putting Trump in that position that, he could do no wrong. The way now they're saying, in the time when OJ, before all of this was going on, OJ could have did this. Well, you know what? Hey, good for the goose is good for the gander. Trump is OJ. OJ is Trump. Was Trump. So
let me clear the record right quick. I'm not an OJ fan. I think OJ's an asshole, to be honest. I think OJ didn't want to be black until he got in trouble. I think, and I personally have ties to OJ. My cousin played in the backfield with him at USC, Wilson Bowie, who got drafted also. They were friends for a while he was still black, dating and married to his black family. Once he left his black family and became with Nicole, he became untouchable. He thought he was better than everyone. He wasn't.
And he was.
He was OJ. And then when he got in trouble, he became colored again. Like I tell people, I don't praise him. I don't acknowledge, him being he was a great football player. But as far as his innocence, I think he was guilty of something. He wasn't innocent, but I still think that, he didn't call the black card until he got in trouble. Now he's black. And
Well,
that's just the truth
for
behind
Rodney
the truth.
King, so that was what got him off.
That was 2 years before that. Yeah.
He should be thanking Rodney King for helping him get off because of the fact that Mark Furman was the situation that really messed up the case with the prosecution, because he was the man they claimed took the glove and dropped it behind the house, and he was known for doing stuff like that. But when it came down to black people, him arresting black people, planting evidence. Right. So the case went from OJ to him, and once they asked him, and they told that man, do not have him put on that glove. Do not do that, because you will lose the case if you do that. Dummy did it in a way. He did it in a way, and people ended up saying, well, we told you he didn't do it because the glove don't fit. If the glove don't fit, we must.
Yeah.
A little tea for this. Just now, the way they did Fannie Willis and her protege for the
Georgia,
voter trial. They don't mention that Chris Darden and his lawyer were having an affair during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Marsha Clark and Christian Darden. So why?
Exactly.
And like I say, this is this funny game we play. It's only when it's people of color do we have an issue, and then when it's somebody else, it's not a problem. I don't understand this.
It comes as selected memory. I mean, at the end of the day, we purposely remember things that we want to remember when it's convenient for us to remember it, but when it's not convenient, or when it pertains to helping us get better, we don't want to talk about it because it's like it never happened, and that's one of the major problems that we find that's going on, in society today. I think this is one of the reasons why we here at the Truth Behind the Truth are trying to resurrect these conversations so that we all can identify and see where our problems are in the middle of it and speak to that, because we can't stay silent on stuff, whether we agree with it or not.
If he gives you a milkshake, what if he gave you a milkshake? Would you take it for a milkshake?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what?
He gave a bunch of black colleges.
Yeah. I mean, even with that, to me, that was another slap in the face. I mean,
no, it wasn't. It brought the food to the yard.
Well,
His Trump milkshake brought the food to the yard.
Okay, well, yeah.
And they act like it was better than Biden at the end of the day. It was police my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they like it better than it brought the food to the yard, basically. So he did what he had to do to get that black vote, and he brought them food out.
I mean, in desperate, I know we got to get ready for a break, but in desperate times, men may take desperate measures. And right now, that man is so desperate. Number one, he's desperate for money, desperate for votes.
He's desperate.
Just desperate. So we're going to expect all kind of desperation that's going to be coming from him from now to November. We shouldn't be surprised. It gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
But, we shouldn't be surprised. But we're going to dig into some more desperation when we get back. See y'all in a minute. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And welcome back to the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. It is starting out to be something wonderful. All right. So we're going to take a little shift and go back in history just a little bit. Don's going to take over. And we're going to talk about the correlation so you can kind of understand how this narcissistic orange duck is you know, following following in the footsteps of his best friend that has been long dead, but his best friend in mindset. So we're gonna take a little minute and talk just a brief minute about Hitler and the Holocaust, situation, but how it all leads up to Trump's behavior. Okay, so if you got any questions about it, please put them in the comments as well, and then we'll speak to this. So go ahead.
Well, I would say the inspiration for this conversation is based on the documentary that I saw some time back from Ken Burns, which Ken Burns made for PBS. He makes great documentaries about American history. It was something that I didn't expect to watch or to sit down and watch. It's a three-piece documentary based on the U.S. and the Holocaust, and it talks about the scenario of the time, the Great Depression, during the era before World War II, what was going on at that time in world affairs, based on the immigration system that we are now seeing today. Now, people talk about, the immigration system is a situation that the Congress and the Senate, they always fighting about what we're going to do to change up the laws and what we're going to do to make the immigration system better because it's broken. Well, it was always broken because of the situations where, back in the day, we had a quota system, which they're now, and I keep saying if they're going to bring it back. The quota system was a policy, especially during the 20s, 30s, as early as the 20th century, beginning of the 20th century, where it kept certain people out of the United States. Well, during this time, during the Depression and you had a situation in Europe that was going on where fascism and everything else was beginning to ravel out of control, and people were getting scared, and people were trying to find ways to escape tyranny to come to these United States. Well, you had right-wing politics even then telling liberals that we cannot abide situations of this nature of bringing people of Jewish descent, or not only Jewish descent, but African, Chinese, Japan, Cuban. They weren't allowing people to come over because they were not considered European enough. They weren't considered Protestant enough or Christian enough. They didn't want exotic blood over here, which we are now seeing at the Texas border, because you now have Hispanics and you now have Haitians, you have Nigerians, you have everybody trying to get over here now. But that was the situation. Now, going to the meat and potatoes situation was the Holocaust. The Holocaust itself was a situation where Hitler was in power, and the Jews were trying to maneuver themselves out of a bad situation that was happening. But because of the laws that were put in place, because of the quota system that was put in place for right-wing extremists who believe that we cannot allow these people to come in because they're going to bring all types of communism, Marxism, and all this craziness. They were scaring the American people to say, we cannot allow these people to come over. So if they do come over, it's not going to be our country anymore, which is not what we from Trump, from the MAGA people. I tell people all the time, if you do not know your history, you're deemed to repeat it. There is a project called 2025 we talked about in the last show about how the right-wing extremists are trying to bring back the Christian narrative of white nationalism to America, which is what they were doing in the 30s as we speak, as they were doing. So going back to what I was saying, they had a project, but what was going on over in Europe was also a project of genocide. World War II breaks out. There was no way of trying to get those people out safe from a situation where they all knew that they were going to go into some form of destruction. So it took to after World War II for the United States to understand the desperation and the need to improve on our immigration laws, because we saw what the Holocaust did, but we still haven't improved still to this day. So
where does that?
I want to say this though, y'all, and I'm going to let everybody have the floor with this. I want to say this. as Americans, we're not ignorant to what's going on all around. And I think to be honest with you, even then, people did not know what was going on over in Hitler's Europe, but they knew. There were reports coming out, just like there were reports coming out with the Palestinians and Israel and the Israelites, and a lot of stuff is going on over in world conflict that we're not ignorant to, but we shut a blind eye to it. We turn our heads to it because that's not our problem. Our problem right now is high inflation. Our problem over here is the fact that we cannot even afford gas or pay our rent. But to hear stuff like that, it's really, it's like, y'all, we have to keep our eyes glued to what's going on. But that documentary is really inspiration to what we need to talk about.
So remind them of the documentary real quick, because I think they probably lost in your explanation.
I'm sorry, y'all, but to be going back to that though.
What's the name of the documentary? The
documentary is called "The U.S. and the Holocaust." Whenever you get a chance, go watch it. It's really interesting. It's an interesting watch. But I'll let anybody.
Well, no. I think a great point about that. So, equivalent this to where we are in our democracy, or losing our democracy potentially.
Yeah.
The behaviors that Hitler did and what accomplished, unfortunately, was the same. There's the same thing that Donald Trump is trying to line himself up with.
Yeah.
His practices in all of the things that he's doing is in example of what what Hitler did. I'm trying to my voice. What Hitler did. So what we're trying to get to you, and I let everybody else kind of explain it from that point, is to again wake up people, resurrect yourself to better understanding. When something is in front of your face, let's not be like the individuals during that time frame.
Yeah.
Because they didn't pay attention to the signs, and the next thing that they knew, they were being overtaken.
Yes.
By Germany. Okay?
Yes.
But that's my point. I gotta shut up.
And to add this also, Hitler needed inspiration for his treatment of the Jewish people. And from what I've read, he took inspiration from the American Jim Crow laws.
Wow.
To make up those laws to keep them separated from the German people. But I wanted to put that out there.
Which is probably, which is a good thing that's going floating around Congress right now. Go ahead, Sandy, what's your point on this?
Wow. I mean, you're talking about one of the most tragic times in history. And look, Hitler was a disaster for the world. He created a world war. He killed Jews, but he killed Polish people. He killed Russian people. He killed millions of people for power. And, one of the things I think that isn't spoken about is that Hitler was afraid of the Jews. He had a fear of the Jewish people because they were bright, they were intelligent, they were articulate, they were educated, and they were grouped together. And he felt that, and it still proliferates to this day, that people think the Jews control Hollywood, the Jews control this, the Jews are like less than 1% of the world population, but somehow we're going to blame the Jews for everything. And I know, Dylan, you wanted us to watch that special, and here's my joke. I didn't watch it because it cost $5.99. I'm Jewish and I'm too cheap to buy it.
Oh,
I can't.
But there's no way to. Trump doesn't want to be anything but what he is, and he doesn't even know what he is. He wants to be in control. He wants power, and he will gravitate to anything that he thinks does it. There's Viktor Orban in Hungary, the guy down in Venezuela or whatever. It doesn't matter to him. He just wants, put me in charge. Let me. There you go. I mean, there's a guy who wants to be the leader of our country, and you know what? Thank goodness, and it's only Saturday, so we don't know what's going to happen between now and Monday. But my goodness, by the time we get to our meeting on Monday night, he actually may have had to sit in a courtroom and start to answer to some of this. So they're just going to pick the jury. But, he's done everything to weasel out of this. And the way our system works is you say, well, you're innocent until proven guilty. And if you're innocent, you would want the trial to happen as quick as you can so that you can defend yourself.
Right.
And he wants it, no, I'd like to happen after I hopefully win so I can make all this go away. But getting back to Hitler, terrible time in our life. There are so many peoples, and you know, even with today's social media, we don't know about everybody everywhere in the world that's been ostracized, that's been put out, that's been killed, that's been, you know, we don't even know what's going on in Afghanistan. We left. We don't know.
Right.
There's no more education for women. They got them burqa'd up. They can't learn anymore. They can't progress anymore. And somehow that's what we want to, the Republicans and the MAGA want to get that back to this in our country, and take women's voting rights away, and take black voting rights away, and take the right to abortion, take away the right to birth control. And they want to dictate, they want to be the minority, but dictate the majority how they should live their lives. Darnell, it's all yours.
But you know what, to add to that, there's an interview with Trump and Barbara Walters, and Barbara Walters asked Trump, I heard that you read Mein Kampf. And he was like, yeah, I read that book. And she said, well, why would you read it? Well, I didn't get it. A Jewish friend of mine gave it to me.
Wow.
See, that's how crazy Trump is.
Wow.
Because Trump is the biggest joke that I think, and this is what people were saying about Hitler too. And this is why I'm trying to make this really a situation where we need to know our history. Hitler was a joke, just like Trump. But Hitler wanted power, but he did not know what went with power. When he became powerful, he lost his mind. He was on drugs, number one. And number two, he never made choices. He had everybody around him making choices for him, just like Trump did when he was in office. Everybody around him made choices because Trump did not know what power, what it is that comes, the responsibility that comes with power, just like Hitler. Go ahead, Darnell.
Well, you know, when it comes down to the Hitler aspect, everyone knows the awful things that happened to him, and those are things of the past, and they do spill over into the future. But as of now, I say we have to focus on the future, and the future is right now, the present day, and what's to come. And I think that we, as in the people of the United States, the people of America, in and out of country, we got to start doing our recon. When it comes down to our people that are in seats, making sure that we are educating ourselves enough to be able to educate someone else. You remember back in the day, they said each one teach one.
Egypt, well, yes, exactly.
I think that's what we need to get back to, right? Especially in this time, because it's critical, because of he has that same mentality of Hitler. But if he get in there, I think that he will take us further than Hitler ever took those people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's far more people in population than that. So, yeah, I mean, and then the thing about it is that the country is divided, but yet together in so many of these using the term relations of groups of people. Mm-hmm. So you have far more than one centralized group of people at this point. So that means he's going to have to go after African American, Asian, Hispanic,
and they're doing
that. True.
And
they're trying to invest with it. But Charles, go ahead. We got to move on this.
Oh well. We're almost time for break. I hate to say that as a producer, but we're about ready for break. And the only thing I can tell you is Trump had the authoritarian/dictator handbook. Surround yourself with military people because military people obey orders. It's the common foundation for any dictator, any anarchist who's trying to change the country or present a coup. Look at everyone is happening. They always surround themselves with the military because they take orders. They don't question orders. And Trump tried that. But the good thing about America is our generals and so forth had a mind of their own. They even said, we're not doing that stuff you're trying to get us to do. And I forget the general's name, McMillan, I think it was, who went over there to the church. He says to this day, he regrets going to that church when he held that Bible up. He said that was one of the biggest mistakes of his career.
That was Milley.
Oh, Milley. Yeah, Milley. Yep. Wow. Yep. It was the biggest mistake he ever made.
Wow. Well, as we go to break, guys, and we're going to come out to us when we come back, but just draw a pause in your own life for a moment. History is a very important part to seek out and get information so that you can, like Darnell said, so we can move forward into our future. But you've got to know what you're going against, okay, to move forward in your future. So you step into it more equipped. Okay, so you can't step into it if you're like, oh, I didn't know, I had no idea. Nobody told me.
Do your
Okay,
recon.
so you know what I'm saying? Nobody told me this. Okay, well, we're telling you, all right, and we're making you aware of it, and we're gonna make you aware of some more when we come back from break. We'll see you in a second.
Every magnetic force that is pulling me down. Yeah, I'm trying to balance me out. My feet can't touch the ground. Yeah, I'm flying.
If you need a pickup, call Junk Stars. Yeah. If you need a dumpster or demolition, call Junk Stars. Yeah. Call 844-55 STARZ. Junk Stars. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
Call Junk Stars.
you need dumpster rentals,
Call Junk Stars.
All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. If anything that we are saying that challenges you tonight, well, good. All right. Send us an email. All right. If you want to complain, good. Send us an email. If you like what we're saying, good. All right. Any one of those areas, please send us an email, ttbttshow@gmail.com. All right, because we'd love to hear from you in your comments. If you have something that you want to ask, put it in the comments. All right, or again, send us an email. We'll try to address it next time on our, on our next show. So one thing we want to do, throughout we talked about in our production meeting, we're going to our next subject, is that if you guys are listening and watching, okay, those that are listening and watching, send us an email, okay, to the ttbttshow@gmail. If you're a Trump supporter, tell us why you're a Trump supporter. Okay. And you don't have to get to pages and pages. Okay. A brief synopsis of why you feel that you think they'd be a better president. Not all of this blaming Joe Biden, okay, for everything. But if you can't give an assessment of why Donald Trump should be president outside of blaming the current and the past administration, you don't need to be voting for him. And you're voting for him on pure, I didn't say likable principle, just by, I think, on speculation. I would say, am I careful to say that? Speculating what he might do, speculating from, his narcissism, or maybe you're narcissist, whatever it is. All right, send us an email. All right, send us an email. And we can talk it on air. So I don't stand. Anyway,
I want to read this. This came from the Michigan Advance.
Yeah.
It says the actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need and unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought and build a better country for all Americans in 2025. The Project 2025 manifesto said it is not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we are going to rescue the country from the grips of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda and the right people in place ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. So, I heard you, Darnell, say this about, we cannot always look. We can look to the past, but we need to start looking towards the future. These people have already started looking towards the future,
right?
Because they got their manifesto already ready, set to go once Trump gets in there. If he gets in
we
there.
gotta come up. That's why we have to look towards the future, because that way, if we stay our mind focused on what's to come, we're able to stay ahead of the curve. Because if you're constantly focused on what was, and what they did this then, and they did that then, and this is how that was at that time, that means that therefore they 5, 10, 12 steps ahead of you. And when it comes to you, you're bamboozled because you weren't ready.
Well, I mean, that's what I said earlier as well. In the midst of all of this, information otherwise and things of that nature, this, as you should take the information that we've been speaking of to prepare you to be ready, so that you know what the strategy is being planned around you, you know where it's coming from. So study it enough so that you'll be ready when you go in. If somebody they giving you, what is that? You probably remember this, Suzanne, The Art of War.
Yeah.
There was another book called The Art of War. Is the art of war is doing your best to prepare yourself to find out what your enemy is doing, so that when the opportunity for attack, you're already prepared. So we can't as American citizens say that we didn't know, God forbid, if happens, because you knew going into the voting booth what you were doing, what you were setting yourself up for, but you proceeded not to take the information and prepare yourself to make the right decision. That's what we're
Well,
talking
y'all,
about.
I just let you know, honey, after November, if it don't go the right way, my passport has been updated already, and I'm prepared to give up my citizenship, and I'll see y'all later.
But this is what boggles my spirit. The poor American working class is ready to give this man, who he claims is going to help out the corporations to make more money at the expense of the American worker, and except leave out the middle class and the 1%. He's going to make corporations just blow over without any form of regulations to protect us on the poor, in the workforce. And forget about benefits, because once that goes away, we won't have any benefits. I won't have any health care. I will have to get my own, because the job would say, well, you don't deserve it, because at the end of the day, it's not on me to give it to you. I don't have to give it to you. So I think what really kills my spirit is that you have working class people who are saying, well, Trump gave us a check. Trump gave us a check. Trump gave us a check. And
a damn thing.
He didn't give us nothing. So he still is not going to give us nothing if he gets in.
Right.
Them seats that y'all should have been voting for, that people need to get rid of half of them in there, is that gave y'all them checks. He just signed them off of his narcissistic.
And that's true. He wanted to go against it. Him and the Republican Congress said no. They didn't want that done. And this is the crazy part. It's like the Daily skit where they go, do you like Obamacare? And the guy goes, no, I don't like Obamacare. He goes, well, do you like the Affordable Care Act? He goes, I like that. And it's the same damn thing. You just don't want it with it saying Obama. And that's the reason Trump put that label on it. They knew that people don't like it because it's Obama. And it's crazy. But once he even said it, once that got implemented, they won't let it go. And now they're fighting to keep it, because they're like, what the hell you mean we're going to get rid of it? Trump says, I'm going to get rid of all of it as soon as I get in office. And they're going, no, you don't. My mama got health care now.
But it's the same people who hate OJ, though. Now this is, and I'm being random with this. These are the same people who will point the finger and say that OJ is a murderer, and he got away with a lot of the craziness that he could get away with. But this man is getting away with a lot of the craziness too. It's like,
the only thing, he didn't shoot anybody, but
he's going to shoot somebody because he wants to. He said, yeah, I could kill somebody and get away with it.
Well, he pushed his wife down steps. And
well, there you go. Go ahead, Sandy. Go ahead.
Allegedly.
That's allegedly.
Alleged lie.
Darnell, you're not going to have to move. We're not going to have to move. I'm going to tell you, if you watch in the polls and you watch everything that's happened, here's what's happened in America. You had all the Republicans running because we already knew Biden was in office and was going to be the guy running. Now you've got the Republicans running, and Trump, as bad as he is, America decided, or his side, the Republicans decided he was the best choice of everybody else that was offered. But everybody else has been on the sidelines. The Democrats are on the sidelines. The independents are on the sidelines. Most of America doesn't know or give a shit until it's election time. But the numbers and the polls are changing, and everything every day gets better for Biden, and everything every day gets worse for Trump. This man is out on Monday to be the first elected president, the first president to ever go be charged and indicted, and now have to sit in court and defend himself. So, and the stuff that comes out of that, we're going to have stuff. So his MAGA faithful are going to have an excuse for everything. But the rest of the country and the people that have a brain or intelligent, look, I was scared to death the last election because Biden was trying to come in and Trump was the incumbent. But somehow, And if you go back to the 2016 election where Trump actually won the what do you call it, the electoral college, but he lost the popular vote. But there was about 100 million votes. And somehow by the next election, there was 140 million votes. And you go, how could Trump be doing that and get another 20 million votes for the guy that took us through COVID and tried to kill us all and tell us this and that? So Biden is getting stronger. The economy is good. The truth is coming out. And this abortion thing, this bullshit in Arizona, where they go back to a law before Arizona was even a state. And you go, you know, the Darnell, get the passport ready, but you're not going to have to go. But if you do,
it's stay ready. It's now listen, the passport stay in order. So it's just like, if in fact that we know that we gonna pray that this doesn't happen. If this man get in office, I can promise you that the first few months that he get in office is going to be a hell on earth. He's gonna make sure of that.
Well, he's going to leave it to the states to make it a hell on earth, because he said, even with the decision with Arizona, which he said that they went too far with their decision. Now, he said the law went too far, but hey, what can he do? But he also said that it's up to the states to make their own decisions. So for African Americans, for whoever that is not of the white persuasion, I hate to say this, but you're in deep doo-doo. Because state rights have never been on our side, not unless the federal government has gotten involved. I hate to say it. If you believe in states' rights and you're black, okay, let's get the rope and let's get a tree and hang you from it.
Speaking of that,
that was deep.
So it took me to something that was really kind of it was disturbing to me on the first part of the week. And it took me back down towards our roots of the country, and it was back in Jackson.
Amen.
A good associate of mine, younger associates, doing really, really well for itself, and it's just like you say, the system, how the system does it is rigged, or it either will work for you or work against you. Young kid doing his thing, end up dating this individual who was an ex-police officer, and the person was doing wrongdoings inside of the police department. Upon him doing that, he got terminated. Then turned around and went out and still was impersonating an officer.
Yes, I saw that.
Then the
and the internet is out.
But you know what? To add to that, that happened in Mississippi, though. That right there, and it's so crazy that this had to. You know what's going on in Mississippi is so problematic. It's so problematic to the point that you're thinking they might be living in another time period. You know, there's a situation where they got some police people in Mississippi on trial for misusing power. They were arresting and raping and torturing.
Right, yeah.
Plus, there's another in another town in Mississippi, there is a jailhouse that has missing individuals behind the building because they have a cemetery back there where they had arrested or they had did something that had killed whoever they whatever they had done to the individual. They just up and buried them and said they were an individual.
Right.
So Mississippi, goddamn.
Well, yeah.
Nina Simone said it best. Mississippi, goddamn. Like, come on now, what's going on?
I think honestly, I think Mississippi is probably one of the worst states in the nation.
It is.
Education, because it has never evolved.
New Orleans.
I want to offer a moment.
New Orleans.
What did you say, Sandy?
I wanted to offer a moment of levity. I'm not sure if you saw this, but those two guys that are being in Florida that have been arrested, Walt Nauta and the other guy.
Yes.
One of them came forward and said he thought that the boxes that were on the stage and in the bathroom, he said, I didn't know they were classified documents. I thought Trump was hoarding hairspray.
I can't. can't.
I go. I mean, you're going to tell that to a jury? You're actually going to try to pass that off?
can't.
You know,
what?
hundreds of boxes, and you go, "Oh, that's Trump hoarding hairspray."
Okay.
But they believe Trump has
Hey.
actual hair on his head, though.
Oh,
So let's
anyway,
keep
that's-
that moving.
okay. Anyway, we will be right back after this break
Yeah.
with more.
If you need a pickup, call Junk Stars. Yeah. If you need a dumpster or a demolition, call Junk Stars. Yeah. Call 844-55-STARZ. Junk Stars. What's that at the door? It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
Call Junk Stars.
you need dumpster rentals,
Call Junk Stars. There's a magnetic force that is pulling me down. Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to balance me out. My feet can't touch the ground. Yeah, I'm flying. Yeah, I'm
Hey, good evening, everybody. So we're just gonna say thank you, y'all, for those who are watching us and participating in this conversation. Charles, do me a favor, put up the responses. I saw two. I think we
It
saw
was 2 or 3 of them.
2 or 3 of them. Pull them up right if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll go through them one by one. Of course, there's my beautiful mom.
No, yeah,
Hey, mommy.
Hey, Miss Alma, how you doing?
And then there was my high school classmate. He wanted
What's up, Chico?
And then there's
My cousin,
Twana.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
And then my classmate, he works for the Department of Transportation in Illinois.
Yeah, a democracy
Mm.
is upon an informal electric. This is by design. Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right.
Yeah, and then we had Tawana.
States' rights are reflective of slavery,
Yes.
which is the truth.
Right.
It's
She lives in Missouri.
segregation too.
She lives in Missouri.
And she lives in Missouri too.
Right.
That is, that's a dangerous thing and to have within these United States, because that's what's based on why Jim Crow was thriving, because of states' rights. The federal government had no hand in the southern states because that was part of the compromise that was set after Reconstruction with the Rutherford, Rutherford Lee B. Hayes compromise. I want to get that correct. Rutherford B. Hayes compromise. But that was the situation. So Darnell, finish your point. You were telling us the story about the guy who killed his boyfriend, right?
So yeah, so listen, it was kind of crazy because you would think that a person who has an issue, you go to your local police, you tell your local police this issue not 1 time, not 2 times, not 3 times, not 4 times, 5 times, and you do 3 other different restraining orders, and it just basically go untouched, undone, nothing being done about it. The day of the incident, you call, and they do nothing about it. Period, none whatsoever. And that day end up being the tragic day that the individual end up unaliving him.
Yeah, he killed him with an axe handle.
Baby, no, keep turning around, and he did a whole lot to that boy unnecessarily.
Wow.
Put air tags on his car to keep up with him, and a whole lot of unnecessary foolishness. It just was craziness.
But the saddest thing about this is it happened in Mississippi, and they caught up with him at the state line of Louisiana. And I'm correct in that. They caught up with him at the state line. But see, that's the issue that I have with the fact that in certain places laws don't matter. Yeah. They don't. Right. They really don't. And that boy was unalive because the police didn't take his situation serious, because we all know he was a black male, and plus on top of that he was gay. They were never going to take that man's situation seriously. So he ended up being killed by this man who stalked him because he had and he was doing that. I'm so sorry. He was not only doing that to him, but he was doing it to everybody within that town because everybody knew him. But the fact is, they didn't do nothing, and that's the saddest thing about it.
And because you have to think about this though, Jackson was already. You think about it, some time ago, they were already in the talks of putting the Jim Crow law back on the table.
And they still,
Right,
and it is
right,
going
it's
to
true.
happen.
So back to you, since we're talking about Mississippi and New Orleans, and all that, but back to Mississippi, you did briefly mention about the 6 officers that are now incarcerated for what they were doing to these African American gentlemen, and they weren't saying dinner or whatever, but they tortured them. They grabbed them, they tortured them, and did explicit sexual acts to these guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And thought that they were going to get away with it, whatever they was been prosecuted. Now they're gone to jail. But it's sad to say this is in a modern culture. Yeah, this is in our modern culture right now. Like we've been saying about the whole show in and of itself, this information is very powerful. Okay. It doesn't matter where you are on the scale of this globe, because you could be in Europe, you could be in Africa, you could be in China. We're all over. Okay. It may be 2 of y'all in Africa watch this right now, 2 of y'all in Rome, but you all are, I'm sorry guys, you all are watching us. Okay. This is information that you should be infusing your communities with. Okay, if you are in the U.S. and watching, pass this word along, pass this show along. All you got to do is like and share. And it's out there. All right, we don't hold back on any of our conversations. If you don't like what we're saying, it's okay. We tell you all the time, it's okay. You're gonna be all right. All right, but the news is that
there's a legal note. I have a legal note.
Okay.
Charles is not prejudiced against police. I just want to make sure that I'm not prejudiced against police. I just think there's quite a few dirty cops, but I respect the law enforcement.
You know what? And I want to say this too. I'm not prejudiced against police too, but I'm prejudiced against the fact that they will put money behind this man named Trump, because what he will guarantee is that they go back to what they used to do.
Well. Yeah, that's
the sad thing about that.
Well, again, that's another part of history that needs to be unpacked that people don't know about. Even the policing system has a history. Is back. Okay, but again, we are in such a last part of it. So we're in a generation that has so much. Charles, can you hit your back? Can you mute for me, Charles? Please. Sorry, guys. Thank you. So we're in an information age, okay? Complete information. We have news available to us 24/7, okay? Be it on your cell phone device, from your computer, from your TV. It depends on where you watch it, whether you like the disgusting Fox News or to the celebrated MSNBC or CNN, okay? There is information coming at you all the time. You have the responsibility, okay, to gather that information, process it, okay, and understand what's coming at you. A lot of it's not the truth, okay? A lot of it's not the truth behind the truth. A lot of it's segments, a lot of it's sound bites, a lot of it. But take the time to do your research. We say it all the time. We try to put information out. We tell you about books. We tell you about all these things so that you can help yourself to be aware of what the possibilities that may be coming towards us. All right. With that being said, the last Saturday of this month, okay, I want to remind you guys, please tune in. We have our wonderful guest, Tyra Jones, will be here. She is very strong in the media aspect. She worked for one of the local stations, okay, in Atlanta, and she can expose what media does, okay, to draw you in. So mark your calendars to be here on that show. It is the last Saturday of this month. Tyra Jones will be with us. Outside of that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind News. PM apologize for my voice, but thank you for putting up with it. Guys, we will be right back here again next week, same time, same place, same station, with more to help you grow more. See you then. Bye.
Bye.